From the Intellifluence headquarters in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Intellifluence Influencer Spotlight. In each episode, we sit down with an influencer from our network and we discuss their background as well as their unique approach to influencer marketing. Kyndall Bennett is a veteran of the United States Navy and currently a personal development blogger, helping people discover affordable ways to learn and grow. Through blog posts, social media, video content, and exclusive newsletter deals, Kyrabe Stories' purpose is to help motivate and inspire those who are trying to break out of their comfort zones, or those who are trying to fit in somewhere, or those who just need a little encouragement in their lives. Check out KyrabeStories.com or follow Kyndall on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, to name a few. Let's kick this off. Kyndall, thanks so much for agreeing to talk with us today. And first off, congratulations on winning our very first Intellifluence retweet contest.
Yo, thank y'all so much for that. Like, that was a blessing to find. I'm like, oh, yes.
So glad to hear. So glad to hear. So can you give us a little bit about your background, including what led you to create Kyrabe Stories?
When I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to go to college for computer animation. But at that point, especially when it was mostly just me and my mom, financial aid was difficult, things like that. So I ended up joining into the military. I thought it was just a one solid streak. Like, hey, in order for me to reach this goal, I have to go to college. So high school, military, college. Well, once I started doing more research into career opportunities, I realized that depending on the path that we want to go on, we don't always have to pursue a bachelor's degree. We could pursue like a license or certification or things like that. And fortunately for me, I had my GI Bill, but a lot of my fellow classmates, I saw how much they were stressing, especially under that debt. So I knew that I wanted to create an environment that taught mostly our youth that, hey, look, this isn't your only option. There are many career paths that you can go on. There are different methods to educate yourself. It's not just one-way street. So I had to learn all of this the hard way. So with Kyrabe Stories, back in college, when we needed to create our own brand, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to do a little story time, but have a wiser version of me actually telling the story. Like, hey, look, this is what I went through. This is how you probably can avoid it. So Kyrabe is the first two letters of my first, middle, and last name. So Kyndall Rochelle Bennett. And Kyrabe Stories is mostly just a wiser version of myself saying, hey, look, don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's a smarter path.
I love it. I love the narrative approach you're integrating into your blog. What are some of your favorite topics to write about?
Honestly, my favorite, I would say, would probably be a book recommendations. It's like in high school, surprisingly, I wasn't that into reading, mostly because the books that were assigned to us, I'm like, okay, this is boring. I don't really want to do this. But once I started choosing books on my own, especially self-development books or self-help books, I saw that there was a lot of stuff in there that I wish I had known beforehand. I'm like, why did you assign me this book? This one actually, I can apply the rules in life. So I like to write about book recommendations that can help with, say, communication, with the power of storytelling when it comes to applying for jobs. If there's specific marketing tasks that will help you build your business, like books like that. It's like, hey, look, there are books out here that can help you improve yourself. Try these.
Excellent, excellent. And then at what point in your journey did you realize that you were, in fact, an influencer?
I think that was, let's see, I want to say it was maybe about 6 or 7 months into creating the Kyrabe Stories blog, because when I started it, I didn't know what I was doing. It's like I was supposed to start the blog on January 1st on New Year's Day, and I freaked out, procrastinated, then did it on the 2nd. So as I started learning and teaching myself, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Let me reach out to people to try to teach me. Let me reach out to someone about this. And then about halfway through the year, maybe a little more, I started receiving emails saying, hey, we love what you're doing with Kyrabe Story. Can we guest post for you? And there was like that moment of, are you sure you meant to send this email to me? Because I'm like still figuring things out too. But it took me a moment to realize like, hey, look, you've made a lot of progress. Like, don't turn this away. You've influenced someone. Accept it. I'm like, okay. And after that, I realized, I'm like, this is something I can genuinely do. I can influence people to go to certain career sites that will actually help them instead of going to something that's more expensive. I can influence people to check out certain books that will actually help them. So, yay, eventually I kind of just dabbled into influencer marketing.
Exactly. We're always trying to hammer home the point that if you have, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 people listening to you, you're an influencer. A lot of people, it's hard for them to grasp that they are in fact influencers.
It really is. Like, it doesn't matter how small you are. If someone trusts your word and has a positive impact from it, you're an influencer.
100%. In the introduction video on your blog, you encourage people to live their lives one story at a time. So what are some of the strategies you use to encourage people that might struggle with verbalizing their stories or kind of conceptualizing it, or how do I tell my narrative?
With me, I start off by sharing my own mistakes. I know a lot of times it might be hard for someone to open up about their own struggles, especially to be the first person, because you don't want to be judged, you don't want to be harassed for it. So I share stories about how in high school I forgot the words to my favorite song during the Black History Month program in front of the whole student body, and then went behind the stage and began crying. I tell about how when I was a little kid, like I got distracted by my shadow and ended up running rat dab into a rock-covered industrial trash can, and that's how I got the scar on my eye. It's like I try to start off being the initial storyteller to say, hey, look, these are some of the stupid things I did, but these are the lessons that I learned from them. And I appreciate whenever I start seeing comments like, oh my God, I did the same thing too. And then you have people start telling their own stories as well. Then you're literally just living out your mistakes in a better way. So that's how I try to encourage people to live their life one story at a time. You may have made mistakes. It's okay. That's normal. Learn from it. Keep it moving.
Totally. So I guess it confirms that the trash cans they use in wrestling are not in fact like the trash cans that can actually do damage when you're running.
The ones that are in a water park, they can do way more damage. I KO'd myself immediately.
Oh no. Yikes. And then you touch on the topic of affordable education in your blog. So what are some of your favorite ways that people can access education that is actually relatively affordable?
One, I try to encourage people to actually do research about some stuff that they are interested in doing, like say information technology. A lot of people don't realize that you can start off by going to a technical college with a portion of the price, get your certification there, and then get started with an entry-level position. And then once you build up that work experience, you can pursue maybe a degree, an associate's degree or bachelor's degree after that. And once you're actually making money that can actually compensate for that, you're most likely to be in less debt. But if you go straight off into going into a bachelor's degree or a master's degree without having that initial entry-level work experience, it's going to be hard to make enough money to compensate for that student loan. I like to encourage people to use LinkedIn Learning. It's like when I was in college, back when it was still called Linda, that's what I used for a lot of my projects. If I didn't have enough credits to take a specific course, I watched a tutorial on that site and just figured it out myself. With the blogging, a lot of people may not realize that a lot of the ways that I format my blog posts, I watched a tutorial on how to do that. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, watch a tutorial.
I love it. I love hearing that. And then last question of the day. So where do you see influencer marketing or blogging in 5 years or so? Or where do you see you with it in 5 years or so?
I see it becoming more personal. It's like we've almost become numb to commercials. It's like, unless it's the commercials from the Super Bowl, we don't really pay much attention to it unless it's genuinely personalized. Like, for instance, a lot of the advertisements that I started paying more attention to are the ones, say, on TikTok, because you have content creators who are making the content more personal instead of it just being like, buy, buy, buy. And I think as far as companies, they're going to see that it's not just about the functionality or the perks or things like that. You really have to get to the point where you have to show or tell the story of how this product can help you in your everyday life. It's not just about the memory space on it or anything. It's about building connections. And if you're wanting to get into influencer marketing, that's like one of the best lessons I can take from that. Show how the product can actually help someone, like share a story, not just the functionality.
Want to join Intellifluence as an influencer for free? It's easy. Visit Intellifluence.com, click on the influencers link, and then click on the Join for Free button to sign up. You'll get immediate access to our influencer marketplace where you can browse relevant offers from brands and apply on the spot. Earn cash quickly by referring your friends and family. You'll also be eligible to receive attractive product and service pitches from brands. There's absolutely no cost to join as an influencer, so we hope you take advantage of our service. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date. That's it for now. We hope to see you soon.